everyone, welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 217 and today's topic is the En Seoul Tower. So how have you been here? Actually, En Seoul Tower used to be called the Namsan Tower until it was renamed in 2005. And according to a survey that was done by Seoul City, this was, of course, a couple of years back, it ranked Seoul's #1 attraction by foreigners, okay? And I would say that the En Seoul Tower, it is a beautiful place. It's a place of harmony of Namsan's nature. It is a symbol of Seoul, and it was established at the very highest point where you can get a glance of the beautiful view, or the night view, or even the daytime view, but the city view of Seoul. It's a beautiful place. If you have not checked it out yet, definitely do so sometime very soon, especially when the weather is quite nice. So we'll be talking about the En Seoul Tower, which opened to the public back in 1980, which has become a very popular spot, not only among foreigners, but also among Koreans as well. So here we go. Let's start with actual talk.
Kelly, you know I'm married, and
Yes.
I want to keep my wife on her toes. I want to take her to nice places, keep her excited, but I'm running out of things to do. You got any recommendations for a date?
Is she a picky lady?
No, not particularly, but she loves being surprised, loves going somewhere that we don't usually go to.
Okay, so something really special.
Yes, please.
Right? Okay. Well, you could try the En Seoul Tower. I mean, I've heard that that's the best view in Seoul, and it does have a revolving restaurant.
Sure.
It's got incredible chefs, award-winning chefs from what I hear, and I did have a friend that bought a dress from me to go there on a date, and she was completely blown away by it.
Did it work out for her?
Yeah.
Is it a happy ending?
They ended up married.
Oh, brilliant. Well, we're already married, so I don't know what the next
Well,
step
in
is.
that case, I mean, you may end up with another child.
And that is good enough for me. Yeah, we actually went. I totally forgot about this, but you've just reminded me. I think when we were first dating, like the first few months, we went to En Seoul Tower. At night time, the views are spectacular because of all
I
the
imagine
lights
that's
and
very
things.
beautiful.
And on a clear day, really, during the day, as far as the eye can see, there are mountains and green scenery beyond the city. It's beautiful. But one thing that puts me off these days is we get a lot of yellow dust and fine
Yes,
dust, so you
of
can't really
course.
see that much sometimes.
That's a shame. I guess you have to pick the right day.
Yeah.
And another thing that would put me off is the price. I think it might be a little bit pricey.
I think dining there is pretty expensive, right?
I guess with all things, there's your ups and your downs. So I think for a night on the town, like an unforgettable experience, that would be my #1 pick.
Okay, that's good. That's
Let me
gonna
know
be
how it
really
goes.
fresh. I'm going to have to thank you, Kelly.
Okay, welcome back everyone. Did you enjoy the conversation between Peter and Kelly? I sure did. So they were talking about the En Seoul Tower, how popular it is, how much of a wonderful place it is, and they also talked about the things you can do there, the things you can see, and the things you can enjoy at the En Seoul Tower. So let's take a look at the conversation together. Here we go. Peter says, Kelly, you know I'm married. And of course, she says, yes, meaning yes, I am aware that you are married. Now, he says, I want to keep my wife on her toes. This actually goes together. That star should have been omitted. Sorry about that. That is one idiom. Keep somebody on his or her toes. What could that mean? Imagine yourself, you are tiptoeing, okay? Is it easy or hard to be on your toes? Not very easy. So you would probably have to move around a lot. Switch feet, right? Switch your feet. So to keep somebody on his or her toes basically means to keep somebody aware, to keep them prepared. But in this case, I think he's talking about keeping her busy at all times, okay? We'll practice this pattern later on. And then he says, I want to take her to nice places and keep her excited, but I'm running out of things to do. So here, he's running out of things to do. To run out of something in most cases means that you have used it all up, so you have no more of it left. If you say, I have run out of shampoo, it means you used up all the shampoo that you have and you have none left. But if you are running out of something, you are in the process of losing more and more of it. So if you have less and less of something because you are using it all up, then you would say, I am running out of something. So he says, I'm running out of things to do. I'm running out of ideas. So he's saying he has less and less things to do for his wife. You got any recommendations for a date? So this is a question that he asks Kelly. Kelly says, is she a picky lady? Is she picky? Is she a picky lady? You all know what picky means, right? Now, if you take the Y away, the word becomes P-I-C-K, pick. What does to pick mean? As a verb, it means to select, to choose something. Okay, but if you say that somebody is a picky person, or if somebody is picky, you are saying that that person is very finicky, very fussy, very difficult to please. Okay, so she's asking, is your wife picky? Is she a picky lady? Is she difficult to please? And he says, no, not particularly, not exactly, but she loves being surprised. She loves surprises. I think all women love surprises, don't you? Yeah, I think all women, our female viewers out there, you're probably saying, yeah, I like surprises, because I sure do. So that's what he says, and then Kelly says, so, something really special, right? Meaning, so you want me to recommend something really special, right? And he says, yes, please, I need help. Well, here we go. Kelly says, well, you could try the En Seoul Tower. What does try here mean? Okay, you could try on clothes, which means to put on clothes and see how it looks on you. Okay, you can try food, which means to taste the dish or taste food. In this case, if you try a place, it means to go to the En Seoul Tower. You could try the En Seoul Tower. I've heard that that's the best view in Seoul, and it does have a revolving restaurant. So we're talking about a revolving restaurant. What does revolve mean? To revolve means to go around or to move in a circular or a curving motion, okay? So we're talking about revolving, turning restaurant, something that spins or turns around, something that revolves, okay? So she's saying at the En Seoul Tower, there is a revolving restaurant where you go up into the restaurant and it revolves, it goes around. So you pretty much get a view of all sides of the Seoul city. There are revolving tabletops at Chinese restaurants, right? Some Chinese restaurants where they have large tables, round tables that are, where people just sit around the table. And in order to reach for the dishes on the table, they usually have revolving tabletops that go round and round and round. There are revolving doors at certain buildings, okay? Now you know what a revolving restaurant is. So she says it's got incredible chefs, okay? Award-winning chefs, from what I hear. From what I hear means that she hasn't exactly seen them with her own eyes, but she's saying, I heard that there are award-winning chefs there, from what I heard, okay? And I did have a friend that borrowed a dress from me. Why? To go there on a date. And she was completely blown away. So here she's talking about a friend of hers that went to the En Seoul Tower on a date. But she was blown away, completely blown away. Now, blow somebody away means to surprise them or really excite them. Okay, so we're talking about excitement and a very big surprise. You can be blown away by something, which means that you were greatly surprised by something or excited because of that. So this has a good meaning to it, positive meaning in this case. He says, did it work out for her? Work out for her meaning, so what was the result? How did it turn out? She says they ended up married. They ended up getting married or they ended up married. Okay, she says as a result, they got married. Brilliant, he says. I totally forgot about this, but you've just reminded me. He says, I just remember. I think when we were first dating, we went to En Seoul Tower. Now, he's talking about him and his wife. When they were first dating, they did go to the En Seoul Tower. At nighttime, during the evening hours, the views are spectacular, beautiful, magnificent. Why? Because of all the lights. That's right. And then she says, oh, I imagine that's very beautiful. She's talking about what? The night view, okay? The view of Seoul City. When? At nighttime. And on a clear day, on a sunshiny day, no clouds with clear blue skies, there are mountains and green scenery beyond the city. Okay. If you say beyond, you're talking about on or at the further or farther side of something. Okay. Perhaps over or out of a certain boundary, far away. Okay. So he's saying there are mountains and green scenery beyond the city, far away. It's beautiful, but one thing that puts me off, we went over this a long time ago. If you say that something puts you off, it means that it makes you not want something, or it makes you not want to do something. It makes you dislike something, okay? So he's saying, but one thing that puts me off these days is we get a lot of yellow dust and fine dust as well. You know what yellow dust is, right? Okay. What about fine dust? Fine, F-I-N-E. When would you say fine, or when would you use the word fine? I would say almost automatically. Did you think fine, thank you? Okay. If you did, yeah, I would say a lot of people would say, yes, fine, thank you. But here, fine has a very different meaning. We're talking about tiny particles, okay? Like powder, for example, okay? Minute particles. So he's talking about fine dust. Very fine, like fine sand. And he says, and you can't really see that much sometimes. You can't see. When there's yellow dust and fine dust in the skies, everything is blurry and foggy. You really can't see that far away. That's exactly what he's saying. And then Kelly says, that's a shame. When would you say that's a shame? That's a pity is very similar, not exactly the same meaning, but it's used in a similar way. That's a shame would be an expression you would use in place of, that's too bad, that's unfortunate, okay? And then she says, I guess you have to choose the right day. And another thing that would put me off is, this time we're talking about Kelly, the price. So she's saying the price sometimes makes me not want to go, okay? It puts her off. And then Peter says, I think dining there is pretty expensive, right? So he's talking about price here, how expensive things can be. Let's look at dining. D-I-N-E, dine. To dine means to eat the main meal of the day. Perhaps have dinner is another way of saying to dine. So dining basically means to eat, usually for dinner, okay? I think dining there is pretty expensive. I think eating there is pretty expensive, right? He asks. And then Kelly says, I guess there's your ups and your downs, okay? Well, you would say there are, but of course in colloquial English, in a conversation, we often say there's this and this and that, okay? So there's your ups and downs. Ups and downs. There are ups and downs to things. We're talking about perhaps the good points and the bad points, okay? There are ups and downs. You would say that somebody is up, meaning they're very happy, and down, meaning they're depressed and sad. So there are ups and downs. There are good points and bad points. I think for a night on the town, like an unforgettable experience, that would be my number one pick. my number one choice, for example. Let's look at night on the town, though. Night on the town. What would that mean? A night on the town? Well, the correct way to say this would be night in the town, okay? But night on the town is used as well. I wouldn't really be able to explain to you the difference between a night in the town and night on the town, but a night in the town basically means in the city. Okay, so you can be somewhere at a certain location in the city somewhere doing whatever. You can be shopping, you can be eating, you can be drinking, you can be mingling with your friends, you can be clubbing with your friends. Okay, you're spending a night in the town or on the town. And then Peter says, okay, that's good. That's going to be really fresh. Okay, it's going to be quite unique and new. And of course, he ends by thanking Kelly, by saying thank you, Kelly. So she has recommended that he take his wife to the Ensel Tower. I'm sure they'll have a romantic time there. Okay, that is it for today's actual talk conversation. Let's take a listen to it one more time.
Kelly, you know I'm married. And
Yes.
I want to keep my wife on her toes, I want to take her to nice places, keep her excited, but I'm running out of things to do. You got any recommendations for a date?
Is she a picky lady?
No, not particularly, but she loves being surprised, loves going somewhere that we don't usually go to.
Okay, so something really special.
Yes, please.
Right? Okay. Well, you could try the Ensel Tower. I mean, I've heard that that's the best view in Seoul, and it does have a revolving restaurant.
Sure.
It's got incredible chefs, award-winning chefs from what I hear, and I did have a friend that bought a dress from me to go there on a date, and she was completely blown away by it.
Did it work out for her?
Yeah.
Is it a happy ending?
They ended up married.
Oh, brilliant. Well, we're already married, so I don't know what the next
Well,
step
in
is.
that case, I mean, you may end up with another child.
And that is good enough for me. Yeah, we actually went. I totally forgot about this, but you've just reminded me. I think when we were first dating, like the first few months, we went to Ensel Tower. At night time, the views are spectacular because
Oh,
of
I
all the
imagine
lights
that's very
and things.
beautiful.
And on a clear day, really, during the day, as far as the eye can see, there are mountains and green scenery beyond the city. It's beautiful. But one thing that puts me off these days is we get a lot of yellow dust and fine
Yes,
dust, so you
of
can't really
course.
see that much sometimes.
That's a shame. I guess you have to pick the right day.
Yeah.
And another thing that would put me off is the price. I think it might be a little bit pricey.
I think dining there is pretty expensive, right?
I guess with all things, there's your ups and your downs. So I think for a night on the town, like an unforgettable experience, that would be my number one pick.
Okay, that's good. That's
Let me
gonna
know
be
how it
really
goes.
fresh. I'm going to have to thank you, Kelly.
Now let's move on to actual expressions, everyone. Are you ready? Okay, let's take a look at 1, 2, 3, 4 words and then move on to our patterns for the day. The first word we have for you is picky. It's an adjective, and you can say that a person is picky, which means to be fussy, choosy is a good one, and finicky. As I explained to you, if you describe someone to be picky, you are saying that he or she is very hard to please, okay? And picky, the pronunciation, when you say picky, yes, it's more of a k sound, not a k sound. Picky, picky, got it? Moving on to revolving. Revolving means spinning, right? Spinning, moving in a circular motion or a course. So some synonyms are rotating, circling, or spinning. Rotating is quite good, so you can use rotating in place of revolving. What about beyond? Beyond, the stress goes on the second syllable. Yeah, we had beyond the city in today's actual talk conversation. It means away from, on the far side, at a distance. Okay, so these are all different ways of saying beyond. What about fine? We're not talking about a fine day, meaning a clear day, a wonderful, beautiful day. We're talking about fine, meaning something consisting of minute particles, okay, very small particles. So fine can mean light. It can also mean thin. This is minute, meaning very, very small, and small, okay, fine, fine. we were talking about fine dust. Certain beaches have fine sand. That's very, very soft to walk on. Okay, let's now move on to our patterns for the day. Keep someone on his or her toes. Now, if you keep someone on his or her toes, you are keeping them alert, aware, and prepared so that they can act very quickly. Okay? It can also mean to keep them busy so they keep on moving around. Here is a sample sentence. Does working with people half your age keep you on your toes? That's right. So we're saying, at your workplace, does working with people half your age, people that are much younger than you, do they keep you alert, prepared? Do they keep you busy? Okay, so you can ask, does working with people half your age keep you on your toes? Okay, moving on to run out of something. Okay, you can completely run out of something, which means you have nothing of it left. You can say, I am running out of something, meaning you are with less and less of something because you are using it up. Here is a sample sentence. I've run out of ideas. I already have run out of ideas, which means, do you still have a couple ideas left? No, you have no more ideas. You have 0 ideas left. I have run out of ideas. If you have a couple left, maybe 1 or 2 more ideas, and you have used up 8 ideas, you can say, I am running out of ideas. I only have 1 more idea left. Okay, here we have blow somebody away. To blow someone away means to what? Excite them or to really surprise them. Here is a sample sentence. The view from the En Seoul Tower blew us away. So, if the view blew you away, you would say that you were surprised. The view surprised you, meaning that the view was so beautiful that you were overwhelmed. Okay, so try using blow someone away as well. That is all for today's actual expressions, everyone. Practice them more on your own.
All right, when you talk about a city and its skyline, I mean, you can find some specific things about certain buildings in the city that make it distinctive. But for Seoul, there aren't very many buildings that do that. I think the only one that really matters for the skyline would be En Seoul Tower. Of course, En Seoul Tower is on top of Namsan Mountain, and you can take a cable car there. And once you go up in the En Seoul Tower, you can view all the areas around Seoul from really high above. And you can even see into North Korea in some cases. So if you get a chance, it would be really great to take the cable car from Myeongdong all the way up to the top of Namsan Mountain and go up in the tower with your friends or your significant other or whoever you're going with, because you can see a lot of wonderful places there. So I really highly recommend En Seoul Tower.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for our final segment, Actual Story. We had Eugene H. helping us out today, and of course, he was talking about what? The En Seoul Tower. Let's find out what he said about today's topic. Here we go. He said, En Seoul Tower is on top of. It is at the top of something. It is on top of Namsan Mountain. That is right. The En Seoul Tower is situated or located at the very top of Namsan Mountain. You can take a cable car. We often use the word take when talking about public transportation. You can take your car. You can take a bus. Take a taxi, take the subway. Even in this case, you are using a cable car to get somewhere. So you would say you can take a cable car there. You could say ride, but take sounds much more natural. You can take the cable car there. Moving on. Once you go up in the En Seoul Tower, you can view. You can see all the areas around Seoul from really high above. That's right, because En Seoul Tower is situated. It was established at the very highest point where you can see, yes, Seoul City, the entire city, right? And then moving on, it would be great to take the cable car from Myeongdong. I was not aware of this. all the way up to the top. Okay, from A to B, to the top of Namsan Mountain. And what? Go up in the tower. Go up in the tower. So what you can do is, of course, I think you can walk up. I don't believe you can take your car anymore. You can either take the shuttle bus up, you can walk up, or you can even take the cable car up to En Seoul Tower. And really, take the time to do that sometime if you haven't done so. You'll really, really enjoy the view and the fun things to do there as well. All right, that is a wrap for today's actual story. Take a listen one more time.
All right, when you talk about a city and its skyline, I mean, you can find some specific things about certain buildings in the city that make it distinctive. But for Seoul, there aren't very many buildings that do that. I think the only one that really matters for the skyline would be En Seoul Tower. Of course, En Seoul Tower is on top of Namsan Mountain, and you can take a cable car there. And once you go up in the En Seoul Tower, you can view all the areas around Seoul from really high above. And you can even see into North Korea in some cases. So if you get a chance, it would be really great to take the cable car from Myeongdong all the way up to the top of Namsan Mountain and go up in the tower with your friends or your significant other or whoever you're going with, because you can see a lot of wonderful places there. So I really highly recommend En Seoul Tower.
So did you enjoy today's lesson, everyone? I hope the answer is a yes. All right. So today we talked about the En Seoul Tower. The next time you have the chance to speak to anyone, it can be a Korean friend that you're practicing English with or a foreign visitor that asks you, so do you have any recommendations? Which places should I check out in Korea, in Seoul specifically? Do recommend the En Seoul Tower. And one more thing I do want to mention. In today's actual story, Eugene H. mentioned something about the city and its skyline. Now, skyline, we're talking about the boundary between the earth and the sky. So we're talking about the apparent horizon. Okay, talk about the skyline as well. Okay, that is it for today's lesson. Next time, I'll be joining you back with this topic. Let's talk about the DMZ, which stands for Demilitarized Zone. All right? In the meantime, what you can do is come to our homepage. Come on over to www.ebse.co.kr. Once you're there, look for Actual English with Jennifer and share your thoughts with us. Take advantage of our message board. Okay, everyone, I'll have to catch you again next time. Take care and see you soon. Bye for now.